Welcome back to episode 3 of Diagnose Bravo. I'm your host, Maury,
And Demi.
my wonderful friend. Today we're going to talk about the out-of-pocket parents of Bravo.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, I was thinking toxic mothers or toxic parents, but I didn't want to be too rude, I don't want to tear people down. I just want to talk about it, just talk about it a little bit. And so then I decided out of pocket parents is the best way to describe some of them. Unfortunately, most of them are women. Um,
Facts. Although, when I was researching for this, I did see an out-of-pocket dad for the Real Housewives of New York. I don't remember what housewife he was associated with because I don't
Ooh,
really watch Roni, but he is probably the most out-of-pocket out of all of them. There was a lot of like disrespecting women, a lot of like supposed groping from what
what
I
the fuck?
saw. Yeah, it was like a whole thing. So I was like, okay, Dad, like, what? Not you embarrassing your daughter like this in front of national TV.
Oh, you know they love to do it.
Jesus.
That is what
Facts.
makes them out of pocket.
Jesus.
They don't give a fuck
But for
about
the most
money.
part, yeah, it's a lot of out-of-pocket moms, honestly.
So we got a couple on our docket. First one that we thought of immediately, Mama Joyce.
Yeah, Miss
Oh.
Joyce. Miss Joyce. Um, Honestly, I will admit I may be a little biased towards Miss Joyce. To me, she's like top tier, not a great mom. Honestly, because she reminds me a lot of my grandmother. They do a lot of the same stuff, and it's very, very weird to me.
Mm,
But I mean, it's obvious. Like Mama Joyce is
out of pocket.
so out of pocket. I mean, just in the way that she treats Candy. I mean, in the way that she treats Candy's men, I
Yeah.
think is just so wildly disrespectful. Her late ex-fiance, the things that she was saying to him and about him was wild. The things that she says about Todd is disgusting. I mean, we all know that Todd does not make nearly as much money as Candy, but to be fair, who does make as much money as Candy? Like,
Honestly, she's
as we
making
already,
money.
she is the funny money. It's wild. We've already talked about how she is the highest grossing housewife to date. And this bitch is always working. She does her music, she writes songs, she writes her own songs, she produces all of that stuff. She does her plays, she did the dungeon, she has her bedroom candy, she has her I don't know if it's a podcast or if it's a little TV segment. Speak on it. She was on The
Mm-hmm.
Shy and she was good on The Shy. So Miss Candy is always booked and busy, but it seems like her mom is like, oh, he is going to take your money because of how successful you are. But in reality, it just really seems like Mama Joyce want to take her money. Um, we know
Mm-hmm.
this because allegedly, like, she had opened a bunch of credit cards in Candy's name. She is constantly getting Candy to get her houses and apartments and this, that, and the third. She expects to be taken care of by Candy. And so it just seems like there's a lot of jealousy there in terms of she's not hard on these men because of she wants to protect her daughter, but it seems like she's more hard on these men because she wants to protect her assets. And I think that Miss Burris is one of her biggest assets.
I agree. And there's just a lot of components to Mama Joyce's behavior when you start actually watching Housewives from the beginning. Um, like there's this Reddit post, and the Reddit post literally says, "Is Mama Joyce insane?"
Yeah.
Because like let's talk about it. There's a couple of things. There's the emotional financial investment that she has in her daughter. I feel like she
Hmm.
thinks Candy owes her this. And
Absolutely.
yeah, what makes me lead to that conclusion is every time Candy talks about it in the confessionals or reunions or just talking about it generally, she's behind that mindset of that's my mama, and
Mm-hmm.
that it
And
is
I
what it
gotta
is.
do for her, and I gotta make sure she's straight and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and some people like living in the chaos a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I, on the other hand, if that were me, I wouldn't. I'd call her by her first name,
Right.
and would not call her my mother. And it just sucks because Candy, when she was not dating anybody or when she was looking for love in the early seasons, there was just such hesitation. And then she had Todd, and she was actually happy, and you actually saw that in her.
Mm-hmm.
um I think even though Todd not being as wealthy as Candy, he's upped her life in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
She has no
And it's
children like
not
she
like
wanted.
he's broke. That's the thing that
Yeah,
they
he's just
really
not
made
big
it
big balling
seem
like that.
that. Like they really made it seem like he was broke, that he had $0. And again, does he make as much money as Candy? No, because no one in the world makes as much money as Candy.
Mm-hmm.
Obvious exaggeration. But he has worked his entire life. He has hustled. He has done his thing. He has never been without employment. And I don't know if he ever has, but he always seemed like he was willing to put in the work, willing
Yeah,
to
he's
do.
ambitious.
Yeah, like he helped her start her plays and stuff. He helped her produce the dungeon and all of these things.
He
Like
did.
now that they're together and they are an established thing, they are an empire together.
They
It
are.
honestly seems like when he puts his mind towards something, he really does it. Like, and that's not even talking about all the fucking restaurants that they got. I think they got Blaze, they got OLG, like all these things. Like
They do. I forgot about
he
OG.
really works hard, and her mother honestly makes Todd seem like he is a broke bitch, that he just sits on the couch eating bonbons and just taking all of Candy's money. And from what we can see on the TV screens, that is definitely not the case.
Yeah, you got to give the short king his flowers. He's out here putting
Hmm.
in work, in
Absolutely.
work. And I think he started off, or they met, right? Because when they went on that trip,
To
and
Africa.
yes, and he was in the Real Housewives production or Bravo production
Hmm.
crew.
Hmm.
Um, so I think that because that's where or how they met, and the circumstance they met, Mama Joyce thinks he's less than.
Yeah.
Because in her mind she's like, yeah, you're filming my daughter
Yeah.
that brings in the bucks.
Yeah.
And I think she's just overly possessive and selfish,
Hmm.
and doesn't care about what other people think or feel. Because even if you think about that episode where she goes into Phaedra's office in season 7,
Jesus.
or was it season 7, something of the sort, and then she wanted Phaedra to like do something for her, and
Yeah.
she got upset at her reaction and said, I could choke you right now. That's not your daughter. What are you doing?
I mean, you shouldn't say that to anybody, honestly, let
True.
alone. But I mean, but what she was saying that for was she was like, you introduced Todd to
Yes.
Candy and I could choke the shit out of you. And I was
Yes.
just like, this is your reaction to her finding a man? Like, there's something so much deeper in that. And honestly, there's a phenomenon where a lot of black and brown daughters talk about how
Mm,
their mothers honestly hate them and how they have a horrible relationship with their mothers. And there's this thing that I've been reading on where they talk about black mothers, black and brown mothers, they have come to this country and they came to this country with nothing, or they were born here and they had their own traumas and they had their own circumstances that they were going through, and
mm-hmm,
then they have these kids and they see these kids as reflections of themselves. They see themselves as the owners of these kids, and the kids go on to get married, have a family, be successful, whoop de woo, whatever they want to do. And it's almost like, how dare you do more than I've allowed you to do? How
mm,
dare you be more than I have ever been? And they're almost jealous in a way that their daughters, in particular, are able to be free and are able to do these things and are able to have these opportunities that they were never able to have because of whatever circumstances that they were born in. And honestly, I feel like that phenomenon rings so true with Candy and her mother, Candy was in the business since she was young. I mean, she talks about how she
Yeah.
was touring with her group Escape and then also going to high school. We're talking about she was doing this shit since she was 15, 16, 17 years old. She's now well into her 40s. So she's been doing this for a long time. She had unprecedented success in her life and all of these things. And her mother never reached that. I think from what I read, it said that she was like a telecommunications
Hmm.
something. That's what she did as employment before her daughters claim to fame and stuff like that. And I can only imagine if you aren't healed, regardless of whether or not that's your kid, you're being like, well, she's only who the fuck she is because of me, because of
Yeah.
my genes, because of the time that I put into her, because of the clothes that I put on her back, because of the food that I put on her stomach. So everything she got, she owes to me. And that kind of goes back to like what I don't appreciate about my own grandmother, because she did that a lot to my mom, where she made my mother feel like she owed her for being alive. And I see that parallel with Candy and her mother. It's almost as if Candy's mom, Miss Mama Joyce, feels like Candy owes her for her success. That the
Yeah.
reason why Candy is where she is solely because of her. And let's be real, I don't know what kind of mother she was when Candy was younger. I don't know, what sacrifices her mama had to make in order for Candy to be where she is. I'm sure her mother did what she needed to do as a single mom, because I don't think that she was with Kenny's dad for too long. But I don't know what sacrifices this woman did in order for Kenny to be where she is. I'm sure that Candy wouldn't be able to be half the woman she is without the sacrifices of her mother and all of those things.
Yeah.
However, there is a level of respect that needs to be given between mothers and daughters. I cannot respect you just because you're my mom. Respect has to be earned. You have to treat me like a human being, first and foremost. I'm not your cash cow. I'm not your claim to fame. I'm not your retirement fund. I am a person.
Yeah.
And
And not everybody around me that is going to take away that light you think you own is a threat.
right. And it's just so devastating because, you know, Kenny's of a slightly different generation than
Yeah.
me and Maury. I don't think that cutting off your mom is something that exists in her world.
Not at
We have
all.
always seen, regardless of how disrespectful Mama Joyce is, Candy will always do for her mother. And I love that for her. I love that she has the resources that she could do that for her mom. I love that she has the passion and the love and the forgiveness in her heart that she can do that for her mom. But people have gone no contact with their parents for less. And it
Fact.
definitely does hurt to see Candy be so sad. Candy have to fight between her man and her mama. And I don't know, Mama Joyce does it to herself. I mean, she really went to Todd's mom and called her a whore to her
Yes.
face
I was
on
just about to say
national
that.
television. Who
Yep.
does that to their daughter's fiance or husband? I don't remember what their status was at the time, but who does that to their daughter's significant other on national television? Like,
Mhm.
not my mother. My mother knows better than to do that shit to me. I don't know.
Look at you out here with the breakdown of the mother daughter dynamic, Miss Demi. I love that.
Thank you.
Um, and it's as you were talking about how Mama Joyce feels like your grandmother.
Mm.
I think that's why I really do enjoy this topic is because I think of LD, Monica's mother from
Oh Lord.
Salt Lake City. She reminds me of my mother so much
Yeah.
that I the scenes watching them, it's like, damn, I can't stop watching, but this is also
Mhm.
very upsetting because the
Yeah.
similarities there are insane.
Ooh.
um so let's dive into a little LD over here
Oh, Miss
because
Linda. Linda, listen, Linda. Stop it.
so we're recording this the day after the first reunion. We've decided not to do a recording for each reunion episode, each part. We're just going to wait until all three parts and then talk about it in one big episode. So we haven't seen the reunion for season 4 yet. However, just some of the things that we have been seeing on the TikTok, which I call Tiki Taki, or on just reading things, or just the fact that we watched the show, whether or not they were in cahoots is that's up for debate. What's not up
Yeah.
for debate is how inconsiderate that woman is to her daughter and
Jesus.
upfront about it.
Yeah.
There's
She is
cameras
blatant
in
with the
front of you.
disrespect.
Yeah, there's cameras in front of you. You're not only making your daughter look terrible, look like a victim, embarrassing her,
Hmm.
you are showing your true colors on who you really are. Now you're putting yourself up for judgment. And I just didn't enjoy the way. Well, okay, so here's my favorite scene is when they're at the dinner table or at that brunch table or whatever,
Hmm.
and she's like, "I'm hungry," and Monica's like, "Then you should eat."
Bro. I laughed for so long. That shit was hilarious.
That shit lives in my head rent free. But in that same scene, she just started like talking to a fake plant in the corner or a plant in the corner.
Yes.
She's dramatic. She is selfish. And from some of the stuff that Monica was talking about, it's sad. One of the things that she brought up was whenever she gets mad, she takes the car.
Yeah.
Even though the car is in her name, Monica apparently takes care of it,
And
and
pays for it.
pays for it, everything, uses it for her children. Because if you really think about it, I love the way that Monica comes off as a everyday mom, everyday person. Not to say that these people aren't in the
Yeah.
shows, but they live such a glamorous facade sometimes. And that's primarily why some people watch it, myself included. But she was just so real in terms
Yeah.
of how she was with her daughters and how her family dynamic was, and her being a single mom and how hard that is. And I don't know if you saw the post today, but she put a post out about the divorce from her husband and everything.
I did see that today. Yeah.
Yes, and how she was saying that she was a domestic violence victim,
Hmm.
or DV victim, survivor rather. Let's use that word. Um, so she's probably been through a lot,
A
and she's
lot.
probably used to abusive, chaotic dynamics
Situations. Yeah.
because it started with her mother.
Hmm.
So for her to like take the car when Monica needs it, knowing that Monica relies on this for her everyday motherly duties that she doesn't have the money to have nannies for,
Hmm.
um that's
It's
so
just
mean.
beyond me. Like,
Yeah.
it's just so. It's just so heartbreaking to see how little sympathy and compassion she can have for her own child.
Yes.
And even like, and let's be real. Monica, although I enjoy myself some Monica, Monica is not the best human being in the world. We've established that. She is an internet troll, a bully, everything. Okay? And and let's be real, that Easter dinner or lunch or whatever it was, Monica did not you put her best foot forward. However, this woman was crying out her pain. She was crying out her pain during the Easter lunch. She was crying out her pain during the brunch that she was having with her mother. And to watch that woman hear her daughter express how she has felt abused, how she has felt
Unheard.
sadness and pain and anger throughout her whole life, and
Hmm.
for her mother to just be so cavalier about it, for her mother to be like, just get over it. I don't understand why you're so upset about this, is just like, that's heartbreaking.
It is.
And although it doesn't condone Monica's bad behavior, you can't help but understand why. She is still a 12, 13, 14-year-old girl trapped in a 35-year-old woman's body.
Yeah.
She has not healed from the things that she has gone through. She's not healed from the verbal lashing that she gets from her mother. This woman called her a motherfucker on national TV and
Yeah, she
had
did.
no problem saying that. And it's like, if she could say this stuff in front of us, what kind of stuff is she saying behind closed doors? What was she saying to this woman when she was a child? Like,
Mm. probably
Monica,
attacking her the same way, and it just hurt more.
exactly.
And something that I think of whenever with her, oh no, it slipped my brain.
How did it slip your brain so quickly?
Damn,
You
I'm
you
leaving
were
that in.
confident.
I
You were
was.
you were confident in whatever you were about to say,
I
and then
was.
you were just like, "Nah, I lost it.
It's gone. It's
It's
gone, girl.
gone. It's gone.
But never
It'll come
mind.
back. If it was important, you'll remember it."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but
Damn.
I don't know. And another thing that really bothered me about that Easter thing was when LD was apologizing for her daughter's behavior. And it wasn't that she was apologizing for her daughter's behavior because Monica was acting up. It was the way she was apologizing for Monica's behavior. She
Yeah,
was
it was
just
ass
like,
kissy.
yeah, it was very ass kissy. It was very op behavior. Like LD is the biggest op to ever do it. If if Monica has no more ops, it's because her mother has left this earthly plane. Like, the shit is ridiculous. Your daughter is crying, is upset, is storming out, has just embarrassed herself in front of all of her friends and Angie K's family. And the only thing that you could think to do is, oh, guys, I apologize for my daughter's behavior. I want to have fun. I want to dance. That's such pick me
Yo,
behavior.
it was.
She is such a pick me. And it's like, woman, know your place. You are not a housewife. You are the mother of a housewife. I'm gonna need you to calm down.
She was living like she was a housewife. She was on
She
that show
was.
showing,
She
showing
she
her
was doing
ass.
more scenes than Mary was doing scenes this season.
Damn, you're
I
right.
saw more of LD than I saw of Mary.
You
Come
are
on now.
absolutely right. Poor Mary just was in this season sitting in the cab, sitting in the vans. That was it.
Hmm.
That was Mary all
Eating
season, cleaning
McDonald's.
and sitting in the vans and eating at McDonald's.
Hmm.
I remember what I had to say. So
Good job, friend. I love that for you.
thank you. I had to write it. With LD, I think about how she doesn't think that her impact onto Monica is as big of a deal as it is. So
Hmm.
it's minimized when she's seeing her daughter cry because to her it's nothing, or she
Her
doesn't.
daughter's just being dramatic.
Yeah, it's just you're being dramatic. It's not that big of a deal, but not realizing that how big of a deal her impact actually is and was. Like even Monica's own children have an issue with her, and that
Yeah.
sucks because not only are they torn between seeing and watching their mother be sad, they're probably experiencing things on their own, and this is just family curses at this
It's
point that we
family
don't need.
dynamics. Because let's
Yeah,
be real, just like my grandma was doing it to my mother, my grandmother was also doing it to me. Definitely not in the same intensity as my mother got it, but you know, this is what they do. They kind of pick and choose who they want to do these things to. And Monica has 4 kids. So I'm sure that one of them, probably the oldest,
the
would
oldest.
probably see through her grandma is probably getting the brunt of a lot of her aggression and just chaos. And it's really unfortunate when families have to live like that because it's sad. Like people that are supposed to love and support you are really plotting your demise and really
Yeah, it's terrible. And that poor eldest daughter, and I don't, I'm not here to judge anybody's family dynamic. We all have a fucked up one,
mm,
but we all know the curse of the firstborn here.
yep,
And while watching the show, the thing that stays so consistent with her family dynamic is how calm her eldest daughter
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Um, because she's numb to it. This is normal
She's
stress.
probably had to grow up faster than she needed to. I mean, just
Mm-hmm.
dealing with her parents' divorce and the whole brother-in-law situation. I'm sure she knows everything that happened there. Monica is fairly young with 4 kids. I mean, 35, I think she's like 35, right? Or something like that, with 4 kids is very, very young. So she
Mm-hmm.
probably had to grow up with her eldest daughter. She probably learned how to be an adult with her eldest daughter. A lot of the times, your eldest daughter, especially when you have an older daughter, they become your best friend. They become your confidant. They become your emotional support child.
Mm-hmm.
And those daughters have to grow up faster than they're supposed to because have been introduced to the adult world far before they needed to.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not to say that Monica's a bad mom. From what we've seen, it seems like Monica is doing the best that she can. I don't know. We just never know what's happening behind cameras or whatever.
Right.
But it seems like her daughter is very mature for her age. It seems like Monica really relies on her daughter, and her daughter is honestly probably her best friend. And when you and your eldest daughter grow up together, there's like there's a blurring of lines of this is my child rather than this is my friend. And it's not always a bad thing, but it can cause some trauma. It can cause um it just is not a good situation. It just makes people grow up faster than they need to, and they become exposed to things that they may have not been exposed to if the family dynamic was healthier.
Mm-hmm.
But I wish the best for Monica. It Regardless of all of the housewife things. I mean, we talked about Phaedra last week, but honestly, like seeing these situations make me so sad because at the end of the day, the only person who is hurt are the kids. And I
Right.
genuinely believe outside of the reality Von T stuff, outside of, you're a leathery bitch, like she was saying to Lisa,
That shit was
outside of all
funny.
of these things, I really hope that Monica continues to heal, that she gets some damn therapy, and that she is the best mom that she possibly can be to those girls because they're going to need her now more than ever.
I
So
agree.
honestly,
Um,
LD gets a boo from me. Boo, boo LD,
Agreed.
because I can't with this
Boo.
woman.
Because it's
She's
either what I
wild
mentioned before, where she doesn't understand her impact, or she knows her impact
and doesn't care.
and
Honestly, I
doesn't
think she
care.
knows and she just doesn't care. I really do. I really do.
I wouldn't put
And
it past
even
her.
and one thing that really pisses me off is that at some point Monica is telling her mom, you abandoned me, you left me in New York with these people so you could go do your thing and get a job elsewhere. And LD is like, I made sacrifices for you. Da 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 da. Of course, I'm sure you did make sacrifices for her. But at the same time, your daughter is telling you something. She's telling you that she needed you. She's telling you that she would have rather had you than someone else. And for you to just sit there, perfect example. Garcelle, a few weeks ago, had a conversation with her twin boys. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure which one because God forgive me, can't tell them apart. But one of her twin boys goes, I needed you more than I needed you to make money. I needed you to be around. I needed you to be a mom, and you weren't. And we can see how hurt Garcelle was. Shit, that shit hurt me, and I don't have any kids.
Yeah,
I
I
was
wanted to
like, ugh.
cry. I was like, oh my God.
Right. I was like, ugh, that shit hurt. But Garcelle received that shit. And she said, damn, that hurts. Damn, that makes me feel like a bad mom. But I understand what you're saying and I'm sorry. It wasn't like Garcelle was out here smoking, drinking, being with her man, whoopty woo. She was out there making money. She was out there providing for her kids. She was out there making sure that the comfortable, privileged life that her sons have, they continue to have that comfortable, privileged life.
Mm-hmm.
But raising a kid is not just about money. Raising a kid is about love, support, and all of these things. And Garcelle took that information, she stepped back, and she was like, damn, I failed you as a mother. And I don't think she needed to take it that far. I really don't think she failed as a mother. I'm sure that's how she felt at the time. That's really hard information to hear. But she accepted that. She accepted her accountability and she said, I will do better. So life is not black and white. Obviously, LD probably left her daughter there to go, send money back and to make sure that her daughter was good and to give her a stable place to live. But just like that is true, it's also true that your daughter needed you there in her formidable years. She needed a mother, and whoever that she was with, I don't even think they were family. I think it was just like an acquaintance, like a friend or something. She needed her
Yeah, I think
mom,
so.
she needed her mother. And so that just shows you like the difference between parenting. Two kids say the exact same or basically the exact same things, to their parents, and one mother receives it, apologizes, and vows to do better, and the other parent tells her to get over it. And we both can see who's the better parent out of
Yep.
the two.
There's a way to react to your child when they're talking to you. Like, even as it doesn't matter if you still see them as the toddler that they are, or whatever, how whatever image you see them as. That's not what you're supposed to be focusing on. What you're focusing on is the fact that you have a relationship with your offspring,
Yeah.
which some people don't have the pleasure of. Like, it's just something that people take for granted.
Every
And
day.
I feel like LD's doing that. I think that a little healing journey, as Whitney Rose says it,
A healing journey.
a little healing journey. Monica will come such a long way. So,
Oh, she definitely needs some therapy and maybe some Lexapro without the liquor.
yeah. So, I hope they get there. Um, and I'm sure they will. All healing journeys take time, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Whether
we
you're
have
5 or 65,
5 or 65. Yeah, you're right. Don't even matter the age. Shit.
it really don't.
Someday,
Hmm.
someday.
We shall all be healed
I like
and
that.
be with Whitney on our healing journey.
I wonder if everyone knows that reference that's listening.
I hope
Um,
so.
maybe
If
we could
we're
put
just
a
out here repeating healing journey for no reason, then we're gonna look extra stupid.
maybe we'll find a clip of her just saying healing journey.
Bro, because she says it so often, and it's crazy because one thing that I noticed about the season finale is that they have these very slight accents that come out, and I don't know if it's like a Midwestern thing, it probably is, or like a Utah thing, but when Heather is just yelling at Monica, it's like she has this very, very slight accent that comes out, and you notice it when they say certain things, like Meredith with her rumors and nastiness,
I do like her accent.
and Whitney with her healing journey, and Heather
It's the
when she
pioneer
was,
accent.
yes, it is a pioneer accent. And it's just wild. It's like usually you can't hear it, but when they get upset or when they're just like intoxicated or whatever, it comes out. And it's just so hilarious. And I love it. It's adorable. So go on, Whitney. Go on with your healing journey, girl.
It's an inspiration to us all.
It really is. We stand the healing journey.
Yeah. I think we got time for one more housewife.
We surely do. This is one of my favorites.
Tell me
Miss
about it, girl. Tell
Dottie.
me about it.
Miss Dot, the psychiatrist, psychologist. I'm not sure, but she a therapist. I guess she's just a psychiatrist. No, a psychologist, because therapists don't generally give out medication. Anyway, we're not getting into it. But we're gonna go to Potomac. We're gonna hit up Candace, Miss Candy Pants, and her mama, Dot. Now this woman, who child. This woman honestly is not the worst out of the three. I think she is light work compared to the other three. But again, like Monica, I feel like Candace has Candace has built up a way to react to people, and I think that a lot of it has to do with her mother. And there's stuff that I've noticed about Candace that she will read you for filth. Like she is
She is
highly
cute as fuck.
intelligent. Yeah, she is astute as all hell. She comes up with words that, girl, I did well on my SATs, but this girl must have gotten a perfect score on her SATs. But I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that her mother's a therapist, and her mother has used a lot of therapy language to gaslight, for lack of a better word, her daughter. And there was this one part where she was like, "You're a narcissist, you're a princess, you're spoiled, blah, blah, blah." And it's
Just
like,
diagnosing her.
yes. And if there's one thing you learn as a mental health professional, it's to not diagnose the people that you know. And I understand, I'm a mental health professional, and um I have the language, I have the skill set, I've read the DSM, I've taken the classes, I happen to be a very self-aware person, so I've been diagnosing myself for a long time now. But it's really hard to like see someone that you love or see somebody that's in your life and be like, oh, they're a narcissist, or oh, they got the bipolar, or whatever the case may be.
Hmm.
But it's really not cool to diagnose the people that are in your life, the people that are in your circle, because you have a lot more privileged information about them that you don't get about your clients. You are in a very privileged relationship with these people, and they are spilling things to you that they may not necessarily spill to a stranger, spill to a therapist and stuff like that. So it's just not nice to take that information and weaponize it against them. And of course, like, you're gonna meet people and you're gonna love people, and you're gonna notice that they may have a problem. Like, you may notice that they might have some ADHD going on, or they might have some autism going on, or they might have some other types of things that are going on, and you want to get them help and stuff like that. But there's a difference between, hey, I love you, I've noticed some of these things, have you ever thought about this type of diagnosis? Maybe like you should talk to someone or seek out some help or whatever the case may be. There's a difference between that and you're a narcissist, you're not a good person, and here's how you're not a good person. That is not helpful. Like, that's not
It's not.
helpful at all. And
At
it's not
that point,
nice.
you're weaponizing your level of intelligence to make her feel
Yes.
small.
Yes.
And that's just so rude.
So
Um,
rude.
I really do like the way that Candace reads people for filth, though. I'm not gonna
Bro.
lie.
And it makes sense because her mother reads her for filth. She's
Yeah,
probably had to listen to people say these types of things to her entire life. So, of course, as she becomes an adult and she gets confronted with aggression, or gets fronted with conflict, she's going to use the same weapons that were used against her. And again, not condoning Candace's behavior. I do enjoy her. I enjoy her much more now than I did when Monique was on the show, because I was definitely Team Monique. But I do enjoy her a lot more now, and I do appreciate her reads. But she does take it a little too far sometimes, and I honestly think it's because of the way that she was raised up. When people continue to belittle you and you have no power in those situations, especially because her mother is so well organized, so well educated, so has her like life together, has this money, is very established, is very successful. The only thing that you can use is your voice. She is not a big lady. She's not tall. She's not, like, large in any way. She doesn't have any stature in terms of like just her physical presence. The only thing that she has is her words. She only knows how to fight back with her tongue because that's what was used against her. Is it okay? No. Do we understand trauma? Absolutely.
yeah.
So, I mean, it's a Candace is another person that I feel like just never stood a chance. Like, her mother is just such a big presence in her life, and her mother has controlled her financially, emotionally, verbally for so long. And I just love to see the fact that Candace is getting her
Independent
own
now.
money, getting her own bag. I love Chris. We stand Chris over here. We
Yes.
love a man that can cook. We love a man that is not afraid to tell you how he feels. We
Well,
love
he be
Chris.
putting her in check. Good
He
job, Chris.
do. And I think she needs that low key. She needs somebody to be like, girl, you need to stop. You need to sit and you need to eat some pastry. And I think Chris does that. And I love that for Candace. I love that for her so much.
It's so great. And in the latest episode, or not episode, but latest season, which I think is like season 8,
Yeah.
um, they have a good relationship now, and that's just so important.
Yeah.
And I that's something that's so common, especially in family dynamics that are as complicated as the ones that we've mentioned today, is the more independent you get as the child, the less you rely on them, the farther away from them you are. So you're not living with them, and maybe you're in another borough, maybe you're in another state, maybe you're a couple towns away. The relationship is better. Um, I feel
sometimes you
like,
need that space.
yeah, the proximity can cause all the toxicity and the stress to come out. And we see that in a couple of housewives. We see that
Yup.
every time LD is around Monica. We see that every time Mama Joyce is around Candy. She always got some shit to say.
Hmm.
Or like even Erica's mother from Beverly Hills, where she talks about we can
Ooh,
only
child.
see each other, spend time with each other for a little bit before we
24
start.
hours, girl.
Yes,
And they
24
and
hours.
production counted those 24 hours. And she was like, and there we go. She gotta go now.
So it's good that Candace is at that point now, because she's just been able to do her and be in her space and in her light. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
And
but yeah,
honestly, I love to see the fact um that they've been able to turn a corner, it seems like. I'm a Gemini. I like to cut people off real quick. Like,
same.
you slight me once and it's just kind of done deal for you. And if my parent were to ever treat me like that, done deal for you. But I'm not in a place where I'm forgiving just yet. And I love the fact that Candace was able to do that. And I genuinely think that because she gained a little bit more independence, I think her mom gained a little bit more respect for her. And in gaining that respect, like, they were able to kind of fix some of those things in their relationship and kind of just be on one accord more so than they have in the past and stuff like that. Like,
Hmm.
her buying her own house with her man, moving on out of her mama house, as Ashley liked to say. I think that, kind of eased some of that tension that was between them. And honestly, like, we love a healing journey. We love when, although there's trauma and there's hurt, sometimes we can go past that trauma and go past that hurt and not have to hold on to those things and to repair some things that may have been lost and may have been broken. And although I would never be in that place with Miss LD, I think that Dottie, in all of
Some are
her
capable, some are
transgressions,
not.
yeah, I think in all her transgressions, I think that she's probably the most likely, to kind of learn from her ways in this group.
I
Um,
agree.
so I love that for Candace. Honestly, she needs her mama. She really do.
She does. And they look so sweet together. I love
They
that for
do.
them.
Yeah, they
If you
honestly
were
do.
to rank the out-of-pocket parents that we spoke of today, being Mama Joyce, LD, and Dot, on a scale of 1 to 3, one being bad, nor yeah, one being bad, three being awesome, or
Well, not
lesser
awesome.
evil. Lesser evil. Awesome is not the word.
Honestly, I guess okay, so Dot would be number 3. She's the least
Mhm.
of the 3, especially with how it seems like she's getting along better with her daughter. I think that she's getting there, and I like that for them. Mama Joyce will be my number 2, but she's not that far off from LD. It's like it's like Dot is all the way to the ground, and then it's like Mama Joyce, and then just a millimeter above Mama Joyce is LD. And the only reason why I think that LD is slightly worse is because of the way she activates Monica. Like I
Yeah, she
said,
does bait her.
bro, she baits her, and I think she enjoys it. It's that self-awareness that really bothers me, because with Mama Joyce, I think that she's really a product of the time. She's probably a product of her upbringing. You know what I mean? There's a lot of trauma in the Black and Brown community when it comes to mothers and their daughters.
Hmm.
And so, like, I can understand why Mama Joyce is that way. We see her throughout families, we see her throughout time. We see that dynamic everywhere we turn in the Black community, but there's a self awareness that LD has. There is a level of manipulation that's low key diabolical that really, really bothers me, because I think that Mama Joy still genuinely loves her daughter. She genuinely loves her daughter, and although sometimes she is very misguided, I think she genuinely wants the best for Candy. She wants Candy to be happy. She wants the best for her. She is willing to see Candy succeed. She's willing to see Candy be the best. And as we have seen in the past, how many years, 13 years that Candy's been on Real Housewives, regardless, Mama Joyce will do for her mother. Whether it's delusional or not, Miss Joyce will definitely come through for her, for Candy. But LD is just, she's manipulative. I think she would be willing to see her daughter fail. I think that she would be willing to um, lord certain things over her daughter, make her feel like a bad mom, all these things. And I think that's what makes her the queen, the grand poobah of out of pocket parents.
Not the Grand Poobah.
Grand poobah.
Well, this has been a really fun topic.
It has. So that's our episode for today. Honestly, I had a great time talking about these mamas. I think
Facts.
about Mama Joyce on the regular.
Not be triggered by Mama Joyce.
I think about her a lot. But I'm just so, and the thing about Mama Joyce is that I do love their family dynamic. I love that Candy is so close to Mama Joyce's sisters, her aunts, and all of these things, and her daughters are able to have just such like a beautiful, well, sons and daughters now, but able to have just such a beautiful family and a beautiful extended family. So honestly, I love Candy. I love Candy's life. Candy, if you want to adopt me, I know I'm old as hell, but if you want to adopt me, girl, I would not say no to that. Um, Next week we are going to talk about Bravo's greatest fight from all. Oh my God, we also have to talk about Vanderpump Rules and their fights as well.
Oh yeah, they
Because
count.
we do love us some Vanderpump Rules. So we're gonna talk about all of the greatest fights. Now we're talking about physical fights. Week after that, we're gonna talk about verbal lashings. So Candace is probably gonna make a reappearance. Oh,
Mm.
she's gonna be in both weeks.
Oh yeah, because she's damn.
We're gonna be talking about Miss Candy Pants a lot, a lot. So, yeah, I mean, stay tuned for the verbal lashings and for the physical altercations. Hopefully, nobody calls the cops. And you will be seeing us soon. Bye.
Bye, y'all. Drink water.